I took 50 million of my own money. I bought it. I bought it when everybody said, you're foolish to own Apple, you should diversify into all the other computer companies. What is this Facebook thing? You're foolish to own that. What is this Google thing? It's overvalued, it's overpriced. Well, I converted the 50 million into 500 million. When I wrote The Mobile Wave, the observation was software networks are dematerializing everything in the world. They're dematerializing money and identity and everything you can hold in your hand, the photograph. And so the conclusion of The Mobile Wave was the world's going to change. The networks, Google's an information network, Facebook's a social network, Apple's a mobile network, Amazon's a retail network. They're going to eat the world. Well, the conclusion is buy Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Google. I wrote the book. Nobody read the book. And you know, anybody could have done it. If you had bought any of those companies in the past decade, you couldn't lose money. So it made me conclude a couple of things. One thing, if you want to make money in the tech era, you find the dominant digital network, the one that's worth 100 billion, that's crushed everybody. You can't buy MySpace. You know, you might hit BlackBerry or MySpace or Yahoo, you know, or something like that. If you buy too soon, you might miss it. But after it's $100 billion and the market is decided, Apple's the winner, Google's the winner, Facebook's the winner, Amazon's the winner. Pretty obvious Amazon was the winner in 2013. Everybody on Wall Street said, what is this stupid company? They don't make any money. We don't buy into it. And they would sell you Amazon for $300. But you could have bought it. You could buy all those things and you would have got a 10x, 20x gain on it. And you just wait until the 99% of the world that disagrees with you, that's cynical and skeptical and ignorant, and they don't understand it and they're afraid of it, as it gradually dawns on them that Google's an information network, Facebook's a social network, Apple's a mobile network, Amazon's a retail network, Microsoft's an enterprise software network. When you figure it out, you're like, oh, these guys can serve up 1 billion people for a nickel. Their variable cost is zero. They've got overwhelming, crushing advantages. So, summary of The Mobile Wave. I had that experience. It made me very successful as a personal investor. My company didn't invest in it. 2020 came and I swore to myself, if I ever saw this again, I wasn't going to write a book. I was going to buy as much of that thing as I could personally, as much of that thing as I could corporately, and then I was just going to tweet about it. I mean, in the early days of Bitcoin's like an open source project. There's no company behind it. It's an emergent phenomena in cyberspace, you know, and as it emerged, the early days, it was very uncertain and scary and complicated. And so how will the IRS tax it? Will the government ban it? Will it be illegal to hold it? You know, the early exchanges were failing. Mt. Gox failed. The early use cases were Silk Road. You know, the early question of, is it a security or not, right? You went through all of these tests for Bitcoin. It could have been destroyed because it was banned. It could have been destroyed because it was hijacked by bad exchanges. It could have been destroyed because it was forked. Like, you know, everybody said, well, either someone else is going to copy it or the government will ban it. Over the last 8 years, what happened is it was copied. It's the winner of the crypto war. How do you get comfortable with it? Well, after it's been attacked 6,500 times by clones and they've all failed, and when it emerged to be 95% of all of the proof of work networks, like 95% of all the monetary energy in the crypto asset space is on the Bitcoin network, then you know it's Facebook, it's not MySpace. So we had to watch it get to a point of maturity where it's seasoned, and we had to watch all of these bad exchanges failed, and and all the bad actors failed, and we had to watch the development of a regulatory apparatus. So now you have KYC regulation on the exchanges in the U.S. You have clarity with regard to how it's taxed. You have clarity with regard to what it is and isn't. I think people are starting to understand it's not a currency. It's not a payment network. It's a bank in cyberspace that allows billions of people to store their money. It gives them a simple, straightforward, affordable, secure savings account for people that can't set up their own hedge fund and don't know and can't get into a hedge fund, and they just want to put their money in a bank. You know, the politicians and the country has destroyed the savings account over the past 30 years. When I was a kid, you put your money in a savings account, get 5% interest, and everybody believed that you for that energy. Ethereum is not going to displace and should not really compete with Bitcoin. I think it's a mistake. I think anytime people say Ethereum is money, it's a mistake, because it's like they're competing with a creature which is actually better engineered to be that. If I really want money, I don't want 100 other features. I don't want all the other features that Ethereum has. I like the fact that it's stodgy and slow and secure and reliable. Well, if you're an engineer and you came to me and said, I have 187 ideas to improve Bitcoin, I would say, like, slow it down. Like, let's not, right? Let's go very carefully, very slowly, because it already is good enough to be $300 trillion. It's got the function, it's done, it's genetically completed. It's like those cockroaches or the lobster from 300 million years ago. Stop screwing with it. God created it, He dropped it in the world, and let it be what it is, like plankton. Just let it be. If you want to play God and you want to create a new creature in cyberspace, you better design the creature very carefully. You better have a clear thought about what that creature is going to do, what the purpose of it is, what part of the ecosystem it's going to live in. And if you're true to yourself, if that creature, is true to itself, then maybe it will prosper and it will occupy its place in the ecosystem. There's not a lot of space for like a shark duck, that lives in the trees, right? That's not a good idea. So you better figure out what you want to be when you grow up, and you should commit to that thing, and you should be comfortable with it, and you're most likely to be successful. I was talking to anybody that traded altcoins right now. What I would say is, we've got something called Bitcoin that solves a very simple problem, and that problem is store of value for the human race. And there's $300 trillion worth of money in defective alt assets that don't store value, and Bitcoin is a small fraction of that. There's no reason why it shouldn't get 100 times bigger as people figure it out. If I gave you something that solved a problem that's going to get 100 times bigger, and all you got to do is hold it and wait. You want to juggle razor blades and chase after very complicated trading strategies and deal with things that are risky that you don't understand, when there's nothing on earth that's going to be more valuable than storing the monetary energy of humanity. And Bitcoin has already solved the problem. So you have a chance to buy into the most important digital network of our lifetime, maybe the most important digital network of 1,000 years. Okay, so if you want to gamble or invest in other things, I wouldn't tell you you can't buy Tesla. You can buy a house, you can buy Tesla. If you think that a certain crypto asset is going to dominate in some area of stablecoin, private coin, if you passionately believe in smart contracts or DeFi or whatever, and it's an investment, like a venture investment. Go into it with your eyes open. Make sure you understand it. Make sure that you understand why it's the superior creature and it's going to defeat every other creature. But if you're dismissing Bitcoin right now, Bitcoin is going to be 100x bigger than Apple, and you can be there first.